of praise, spirits in this place. Raise the roof with shouts of praise, spirits in this place.
Good morning, everyone. Hey, welcome to Unity Renaissance. This is the first day of May. Today's May Day. And I know, right? That deserves a round of applause. I love this time of year. Just so liberating, you know? So many exciting things happening out in the world and in nature and right here at Unity Renaissance. So we're just thrilled to welcome you to our service today. Well, Unity is positive, practical, progressive Christianity. We follow the teachings and the example of our way shower, Jesus, in seeking to more fully love ourselves, love God, and love one another. And from that beautiful consciousness of love here at Unity, we honor all paths to God, all names for God, and all expressions of God. And each and every one of you, is an expression of God. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, and when we acknowledge that, when we really deeply know that, it is a game changer, is it not? And as we learn to connect with that divine light that is the truth of us, our true nature, and we behold that beautiful light in one another, that light just grows and grows, and it shines out ever more brightly to light up the world. Our vision at Unity Renaissance is, together, a spiritually awakened world, living in peace, love, and joy. And we are manifesting that vision through our mission, which is, together, we transform lives that transform the world. You know, I love the way you guys say that. You always say it with so much heart because it's absolutely true, isn't it? Well, let's begin our time of transformation this morning in prayer. I invite you to close your eyes. Get settled in your seat. Take a nice big deep breath in. Releasing and letting go. Just appreciate for a moment that you are here, wherever you are right now, being a part of this service, that you are here by divine appointment. The Spirit gave you that nudge. Your heart said yes. And we are so grateful as we come together this morning on this first day of May. We feel these beautiful possibilities of new growth bubbling up even within ourselves. We see it in our community. We turn our sights to hope and to new opportunities and new possibilities. We affirm that same vision for our world at large. We take a moment to just send our prayers and so much love across the world to the people of Ukraine, and to also people in Russia who are suffering, and to truly anywhere in this world where people are struggling and feeling oppressed, feeling frightened. We send out our love and we affirm better days ahead, and that peace will prevail, and that we are ready to do our part to bring that about. And so for this beautiful unity spirit, this beautiful unity consciousness that we know is our way through this and our way forward, we are so grateful, and we say thank you, God, and so it is. Amen.
All right, let's come together. You don't mind standing up? 1, 2, 3, 4. Nick Flores on saxophone.
Take a look at the person next to you.
Take a look at the person next to you.
Say, I recognize the God in you.
Say, I recognize the God in you.
Feel the love in the sanctuary.
Feel the love in the sanctuary.
Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together.
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 We come together in the name of love.
We come together.
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 We come together in the name of love.
Find someone else. Take a look at the person next to you.
Take a look at the person next to you.
Say, God loves you and I love you too.
Say, God loves you and I love you too.
Now feel the love in the sanctuary.
Now feel the love in the sanctuary.
Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together.
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 We come together in the name of love.
We come together.
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 We come together in the name of love.
Every walk of life.
From every walk of life.
Every creed and color.
Every creed and color.
In kinship we unite.
In kinship we unite.
In honor of the God and each other. Take a look at the person next to you.
Take a look at the person next to you.
Say namaste, I bow to
Say
you.
namaste, I bow to you.
Now feel the love in the sanctuary.
Now feel the love in the sanctuary.
Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together.
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 We come together in the name of love.
We come together.
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 We come together in the name of love.
Now, from that beautiful spirit of togetherness, I invite you to join me in our divinity salute as we turn to greet our neighbor with a bow. Together, the divine in me greets the divine in you, and we serve and celebrate together for the glory of God.
We come together. We come together.
We come together.
We come together.
We come together in the name of love.
We come together.
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 We come together in the name of love.
We come together.
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 We come together
In the name of love. Beautiful job.
Woo!
That's what
Yeah!
I'm talking about.
That's out.
Wow. It feels good to come together, doesn't it? Hi, I'm Gail Boynton, your platform host for today, and I'm here to do the daily word. Our word for today is joy. Please join me in our affirmation. Together, I carry joy in my heart. My many happy experiences and memories may lead me to feel joyful, but I know they are not the source of my joy. One of my divine gifts, joy, is part of my spiritual identity, as close to me as my next breath. Joy wells up and spills over within me when I bring my awareness to my spiritual nature and to my oneness with all good in life. It is an attitude I hold in mind and a feeling in my heart. The happiness I feel in life depends on my allowing my inner wellspring of joy to come forth. I nurture my joy by maintaining a regular prayer practice that enhances my awareness of God and by making time for the things that make me happiest. I go into the world grateful for the joy that resides within me, my gift to share generously. Our scripture verse is from Isaiah chapter 55, verse 12. For you shall go out in joy and be led back in peace. If you would like prayer support today, we have several options. For those of you who are here, we have prayer chaplains today available to pray with you after the service. Would our prayer chaplains please stand? We have 3 of them. Don and Lisa Grady and Audrey Hilke are available after the service in the chapel, which is just past the bookstore. There's also a table outside of the chapel where you can fill out a prayer request card if you wish. You can go to our website to put in your prayer request. And also, you can contact the 24-hour Silent Unity 24/7 prayer line. You can call 1-800-NOW-PRAY, which is 1-800-669-7729. And now please rise and join us for the Lord's Psalm.
Holy Creator, we praise your name. Your will in heaven and earth the same. Supply our needs, Lord, from day to day. Let your forgiveness light our way. Lead us away from temptation's hold. Deliver us, Lord, into your fold. For all the kingdom, power and praise, with you began and with you stays. Holy Creator, we praise your name.
Would be thy name.
Your will in
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever.
into your fold. For all the kingdom, power and praise, with you began and with you stay. Amen. Amen. Please be seated.
I'm going to feature Lily on this brand new song from Claudia Carawan and Harold Payne.
This is the moment, right here and now, to lay down our burdens and come together right now. It might not be easy to cross this divide. Lord knows we've got to try. Let love be our witness as we stand in forgiveness. We all want to find common ground. We need each other. We need each other now more than ever before. We need each other. We need each other. May peace in our hearts be but the struggle is worth it, and our dreams still can somehow come true. We need each other, we need each other, now more than ever before. We need each other, we need each other. May peace in our hearts be restored. May peace in our hearts be restored. May peace in our hearts be restored.
That's Lily Scott, ladies and gentlemen. Lily Scott.
Great. Some 20 years ago, a researcher named Robert Putnam conducted a landmark study on our society that came to be known as bowling alone. In that study, Putnam found that Americans had been withdrawing from their communities since the 1960s and 1970s, and that trend was accelerating. He found that attendance in public meetings had been dropping, that religious affiliation was declining, and that even the family dinner was becoming an endangered species. But his most memorable example was that more and more Americans were bowling. More Americans were bowling than ever before. But they were not bowling in leagues or in organized groups. They were bowling alone. Similarly, more people were listening to music than ever, but they were listening alone. We see this today, don't we? We could add that people are listening to podcasts more than ever, watching videos more than ever, that they are playing games more than ever, but they're all doing it alone. We can feel that trend has been increasing exponentially even within the last decade. You see, technology makes our lives more convenient, but it also tends to split us apart. Today, it is just as easy to work from home in most cases as it is to work in an office. Many people go through their workday and have no face-to-face communication at all. Rather, they're communicating with people online. Now, it's true that in some ways technology connects us, but it's a different kind of experience, isn't it? You know, today, because of the internet and social media and our laptops and our smartphones and our tablets, we can catch up with old classmates and long-lost family members, friends and acquaintances across the country and around the world. But those connections are fleeting, and often they are superficial. They don't really satisfy our souls. They don't meet our deeper need for authentic human connection. So all of these trends have been building for decades now, with societal trends and technology sort of moving us more and more into this phase of aloneness, such that today is called the age of loneliness, where we are more and more isolated from one another. And then comes the pandemic, right? It made everything so much worse. Because the pandemic, particularly the lockdown, really forced us into isolation. Oof, it was an awful time, wasn't it? You just sort of shake your head at what we've been through. It's really kind of incredible. We had to learn how to be alone. But today, as the pandemic begins to lift, I sometimes wonder, do we remember how to be together? Clearly today in this room we do. But in the overall scheme of things, do we as a society really remember how to be together and even facilitate and support and create ways for that to happen. I know I'm not the only one who felt a little bit socially awkward coming back from the pandemic in interacting with people face to face again. It felt a little strange, didn't it, when you haven't done that in a while? And to this day, there are still folks who are kind of in that hunker down mode, that are still staying home, even aside from precautions around COVID. And I know that it's not over. We all honor and respect those who need to stay home and away from people to take care of their own health. But there's something else going on too, even beyond that, where people are just sort of choosing to be homebodies, to stay home, even if that means being alone. It seems that living in sweatpants has become its own sort of art form. And it seems harmless enough. It seems harmless enough, doesn't it? But living in isolation over time is very dangerous to our health, to our physical health, and to our mental health. Researchers say that these statistics are amazing. Researchers say that social isolation is as likely to cause early death as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That loneliness is twice as deadly as obesity. It increases the risk of heart disease, stroke, dementia, high blood pressure, depression, paranoia, anxiety, alcoholism, and suicide. People who are lonely or socially isolated have a 29% higher risk of a heart attack, angina, or death from heart disease, and a 32% higher risk of a stroke. Isolated people are also less likely to exercise and stick to their medicine regimen, and they're more likely to smoke and drink too much. A lot of those are the physical health impacts of being isolated and being alone or separate from one another. But as we have clearly seen from the pandemic, isolation also takes a toll on our mental health. We all felt that, didn't we? And maybe are still feeling it. I know a lot of folks are still struggling to recover from what we've been through these past 2 years. They've been hard on all of us. But friends, they've been particularly hard on our young people. American teenagers were already suffering from mental distress before the pandemic hit for a variety of reasons. Bullying, social media, which can be brutal on their self-esteem, on their confidence, not enough sleep, a sense of not knowing where they fit in. All of these things were at work in this fast-changing society of ours. And then the pandemic comes along, and with the loss of school and social activities, that already bad situation became much worse. So much so that this last December, the U.S. Surgeon General, Dr. Vivek Murthy, issued a rare public advisory warning of a quote-unquote devastating mental health crisis among adolescents. And that crisis crosses over all racial and ethnic groups, urban and rural areas, and all socioeconomic classes. Today, the rates of mental health disorders among youth are soaring. They include anxiety, depression, compulsive behaviors, self-harm, and tragically, suicide. It truly is a crisis. It's a crisis. Our young people need us. Somehow, we must help them and help ourselves rediscover meaningful human connection. We must shift this trend from being alone and isolated to being together. We must come back to that sense, that richness of human connection that makes all the difference in our lives and our well-being. Well, interestingly, throughout history, societies have been able to make just this same kind of shift from an individual orientation to a collective orientation, from a we focus to a we focus. And they've done it to adapt to changing conditions. So there's a beautiful model that shows this so perfectly, and it's called spiral dynamics. How many of you have heard of spiral dynamics? It's been a while since I've talked about it here. Spiral dynamics is basically a framework for understanding the evolution of human consciousness. And it assigns different colors to various worldviews, different ways of seeing the world, different perspectives, different ways of behaving, kind of your perspective, if you will. So this is really what and they call each of those colors a meme, M-E-M-E. So this, as I'm sure you can perfectly understand, shows the different memes going back 100,000 years. So these are the different sort of mental frameworks that humanity has progressed through over time. So at the bottom is the beige level, and beige is really tribalism, right? And then it sort of moved into the purple phase, which was magical thinking, then over to the red phase, which is all about power and authority, kind of impulsive, egocentric. Then from there, and you can sort of see how one would have shifted into the other based on the conditions or what was coming about because of it. So it went from that sort of ego-focused red over to blue, which is all about hierarchy and rules and order, that kind of thing. Then from there, back over to orange. And orange is actually more what the Fillmores were. Orange has been very popular, for example, in the 70s. It's about science, it's about bettering yourself, it's about personal human achievement. You can do whatever you set your mind to, that kind of thing. And then over into the green, and the green is more humanistic and egalitarian. It is often said that unity is a green consciousness movement because we are so embracing of equality and diversity, care for the earth, helping one another, etc. There are two above that, the yellow and the turquoise. The yellow is integrative, the turquoise is holistic, but these belong in sort of a different category, which I'm going to address in just a moment. So important to realize, it's not like we all move as a group, like, okay, we're all going to be in this consciousness, now we're going to move into this one, everybody ready? It would be kind of nice if it was that way. It is not that way. As you can readily see, all of these worldviews still exist in our world and certainly in our country. But what happens is that the balance begins to shift sort of upward, right? So we can certainly identify people who are in the red mentality of conqueror. Certain people come to mind when we think about that on the other side of the world right now. So they still exist, but the balance begins to shift. So here in the United States right now, the majority are in orange and in green, moving increasingly into green, which is kind of an exciting thing, right? We're kind of moving into that more egalitarian, open-minded thing. But here's the part that I find particularly relevant about this model today. That at each of those levels, underlying this whole pendulum, it swings from a me focus to a we focus, from one level to the next. So for example, that tribal was very the warrior, trying to survive, right? And then it went to magical thinking and the community, and then it came back to the red, the individual, and then back over to blue, institutional, and then to orange, individual, and now to green, which is more a we focus. Which tells us that we are in this process of moving into a more kind of communal mindset, a more communal framework to explain some of the struggle that we're in right now. But here's the very best part about spiral dynamics, and it has to do with those top two. Wait, got something going on here, 1 second. Apologies. Those top two levels are part of a different tier. So there's actually a little bit of a gap between the green and the yellow. And it's a really significant gap because that tier 2 consciousness is a whole other level. So these tiers are very different. These bottom ones are all tier 1. And at tier 1, here are some of the characteristics. They're based on fear. At tier 1, each meme thinks that it's right and the others are wrong. Even the green. We're right, and the others are wrong. It just explains some of the combativeness, does it not? And the divisiveness. No, we have to win out because our way is right. All that is happening at tier 1. But when you get to tier 2, it's based on love. Tier 2 doesn't say that any one point of view is correct or right or the best, but that all of them, it embraces all of them for the good that they have, the value that they offer or have offered in the past, so that there's a way to take the best from each of these ways of thinking and integrate it into the whole. So at Tier 2, it is based on this ethic of transcend and include. Transcend and include. It is unitive consciousness. It is oneness consciousness. It is what we here in unity call Christ consciousness. That kind of consciousness that says there is room for us all, there is value in every viewpoint. So now we understand, if we realize it takes a momentous leap to get from Tier 1 to Tier 2, things begin to make sense about why we're in such struggle right now, do they not? Because here we are, we're like on the verge of this big leap forward. We're trying to figure out how to let go of old patterns, how to heal, how to unite, how to shift our consciousness so that we are ready for a higher level of being. This is big work. Whew, right? No wonder we're working so hard at it. No wonder we're putting so much energy into our breaking free of the ego and what we're learning in Christopher's class and what Cheryl taught at her workshop yesterday. We're just trying to adjust to a higher level of consciousness that we know will set us free. Well, you may be thinking that is all fine and good, but what about right now? What about the problems that are before us right now? What about the ways in which we feel isolated or alone? What about our young people? Well, interestingly, those researchers that did the Bowling Alone report offered two key ways in which Americans can sort of revitalize our socialization, if you will, to sort of bring our society back into a more vital state. And the first one was for adults to socialize more, to join groups, and to volunteer. And the second was to show our young people ways to meaningfully socially connect. In other words, demonstrate for them, give them opportunities to connect with others face to face in a heartfelt way, in a meaningful way, on those things that matter the most to them. So help ourselves and help our young people. And by helping ourselves, we do help our young people, but we also need to be mindful of their special needs. I have to tell you, when I hear these recommendations, they remind me of what we do at Unity Renaissance. They remind me of why we're here. You know, just on that first one about having opportunities to join groups or to volunteer or to serve or to connect, my goodness. This is not a commercial for us. I know it sounds that way, but I couldn't help thinking of it. You know, honestly, folks, if I didn't have Unity Renaissance, I don't know where I would find community, real community, right? So here, and you can pick and choose. You can do as little or as much as you want. So many things going on, so many ways to connect with other people, to meet people whose background or perspective is perhaps different from your own, but to do so in a respectful environment, ways to serve, ways to get support and to give support. It's beautiful. We have things here from yoga to Tai Chi classes, to the men's group, to the sisterhood, the beautiful, beautiful Unity Sisterhood, incredible group of women. We've got cooking team, we've got movie night, can help in the classroom, and on, and that doesn't even mention the things that you want to do in your own heart that you want to bring into our organization. It's all here for you. And we also offer opportunities, thank God, so well and so beautifully for our young people. How many of you in this room have worked with our young people here at Unity Renaissance? You know what I'm talking about. And you know, I'm really appreciating the fact that today, in fact, this whole weekend, our Youth of Unity and some recent grads are at their spring regional retreat. There they are, getting ready to go. You know, you hear about these rallies, and you may not really have a sense of what goes on there. I've been to them. I don't go to all of them, obviously, but I've been. They're miraculous. One of the first things the sponsors do is take the kids' phones. so that they are going to engage in meaningful interaction and communication with one another, and they provide this safe, supportive environment where those kids can share what they're being burdened by. They can open up. They can share what's worrying them, what's weighing on them. They can get support. They can share their fear. They can share their joy. For many of these kids, it is life-changing. It is life-changing. So important. And the end of next May, or the end of this month, sorry, our Uniteens will be going on a retreat. It'll be a very similar experience for them as well. And guess what? You have all helped make that possible through your contributions here and to our young people. All those auctions, all those bake sales and car washes, you've helped make that happen for them. And you know what? I know we can do even more. And with your help and your involvement and your inspiration, we will. And beyond that, here on Sundays, we serve our young people. Isn't it so incredibly inspiring when they come up here at the end of the service, the wise and beautiful things they say? From a very young age, they are learning that they are loved and accepted exactly as they are. And they're learning to love and accept others that same way. If you want to make a difference in a child's life, one of the ways you can do it is by helping in our youth ed department, where we very much need more teachers and classroom assistants. So see me or Lisa or B about that. You know, the truth is that as social beings, we humans need to have meaningful, deep connection. We need to feel a sense that we belong. And we need to have a feeling of being supported socially. And so today, very pointedly, I am inviting and I am encouraging you to take whatever steps you can to re-engage with community, with life, with your neighbors, with friends, whatever it may be. Take it at your own pace, but connect. Connect. As the author E.M. Forster said in the 20th century, only connect, but in a real way, in a human, face-to-face, personal way. And there's one more way you can do this, and this one is to those of you who are watching online. Come to church. Come to church. I know some of you can't, and thankfully we now reach to areas that people can't get here, but some of you can too. And every single week I hear someone say that the experience of being here in person is exponentially different than watching online. It's absolutely true. I know that to be true. There is a loving community here for you. So step back in, put a toe in the water. Put a toe in the water, maybe put on some nicer pants. But you don't have to. You can come in your sweatpants. It's all good. It's all good. You know, it says in Ecclesiastes, to everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven. So let us affirm that this season of alienation and isolation and aloneness and loneliness is passing away, and the pendulum is swinging to a new season of meaningful, uplifting, progressive connection. Let us see that. Let us hold that in our hearts and be a part of that. Let us welcome the dawn of a new era and do our part to bring it forth. Let's move now into our meditation. So did I. Let's take a moment to breathe in. Just letting go into this beautiful sacred energy here in this sanctuary and feeling that connection with those who are watching online. We are one. We are one. Take a deep breath in. Let it go. Appreciating for a moment that there are those times in life when we feel alone and afraid, when our burdens feel heavy. We know for our young people it can be overwhelming. But today we remind ourselves that there's another way, that there's a choice that we can make. That loving souls, like-minded individuals, peers, coaches, and supporters are waiting for us to reach out. That power is within us to engage and to connect. Breathe for a moment into this beautiful, supportive energy. This healing vibration that we feel when we're together. And for a few moments in the silence, consider what is yours to do next. To connect, to engage, and perhaps to help someone else in that same way. Consider that for a moment in the silence. Take a moment to just breathe a prayer of gratitude for all the good people in our lives, for this inward pull into a greater sense of we-ness and togetherness, knowing that we will honor that and all will unfold in a healing, uniting way. We're grateful for Unity Renaissance, for all those associated with it, for what we have created together and what we are creating going forward. For all of this and for the knowing that God's in charge and all is well, we are grateful. Thank you, sweet Spirit. So it is. Amen.
Flow, Spirit, flow through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding vision. Spirit, show through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding love.
Thank you for you. Thank you for you. All right, well, this is time in our service for the sharing of our love offering in support of Unity Renaissance. There are many ways to make a contribution to this community. You can find them all online and on our app. You can give via check or cash if you're here in the room and you'd like to do that. There's a love offering basket in the back. You can also give via credit card online. Perhaps the easiest way to give these days, and one we have all grown to love, is by texting the word give and thereafter the amount you wish to donate to the number
540-418-1228. Text now. Yeah.
That's cute. You're all doing this. I invite you to hold your gift or your phone in your hand, as the case may be. Let's bless it with our offertory blessing together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
Give and it's given back to you. Give and it's given back to you. Give and it's given back to you. Press down, shaking together, running over, back in good measure. It's given back to you.
Brother Terry. Okay, great. We're on. Am I on? All right. The song reminds us that we are all a part of one heart. We're all live together in that one heart of God. Here's Brother Nick. Thank you.
There's a new church on the horizon, made of light, not of stone, calling out to all creation, you are not alone. Lions and lambs, saints and sinners, best of friends, enemies, woman and man, losers and winners, they are all in you and me. We are one heart, looking for answers. We are one soul, finding our way through the dark. One dream we share together. We are all a part of one heart. Out in the cold, there are faces hidden by the wind and rain. Hold out your hand, someone will take it and bring you home again. We are one heart, looking for answers. We are one soul, finding our way through the dark. One dream we share together. We are all a part of one heart. Around the world tonight, ooh, the fires are burning. Tears are falling from the sky. Still the world keeps turning. We are one heart, one soul, one dream we share together. We are all a part. Yes, we are one heart, looking for answers. We are one soul, finding our way through the dark. One dream we share together. We are all a part of one heart. Ooh, we are one. Yes, we are all a part of one heart.
Nick Hill. Thank you, Nick.
We'd like to take a moment now to welcome any of you who are new to Unity Renaissance. If you're here today for the first, second, or third time, we invite you to raise your hand nice and high, holding up the appropriate number of fingers. 1 for your first visit, 2 for your second. Look at all our first timers over here, and second timers back here, and over here. Great. Keep those hands up if you'd be so kind until they come around. It takes them a few minutes. Laura, we have another down here on the second row, right here. This way, Laura. Towards me. Come towards the platform. There we go. A lot of goodies in there for you. We'll get you as well. Denise over here. And if you look inside that bag, there's a little card for you to fill out. You fill out that card, take it into the bookstore, and you get a free gift. And it's a lovely little gift. Yes. You get your choice between two gifts, a magnet or a chip clip. Very functional.
Or a trip to Hawaii.
And we look forward to seeing you again and again. Thank you so much. We are honored to have you here today, and look forward to getting to know you.
Okay. One. Hello.
It's not on.
No, try this one.
There's a red light sign. When you see a red light, just
Oh, you mean you have to turn it on first?
No,
No?
you're not supposed to.
Okay. I don't think anyone can anyone hear me?
Is this?
Talk loud.
No, it's on.
Okay. There we go.
Thank you, Nick.
Okay. Now that you have your little bag, when you think about, you know, the time is going to come when you may decide you would like to be a member of Unity Renaissance. And if you've been thinking about that, the time has come. There will be a class. The Path to Discovery is coming up, and you can sign up out in the hall or send an email to Reverend Richard at rmcdc@gmail.com. This is required in order to be a voting member, and you get to learn a little about Unity and Unity Renaissance. So we hope you'll consider that.
So they're now basing the class, whoever is interested in taking it, they'll set the time and the date based on when you're available, in case you're wondering about that. Well, May is Diaper Drive Month here at Unity Renaissance. So this is your opportunity to help people in need. You know, it's one of those problems that we don't hear a whole lot about, but it really is kind of a dire need for some babies as well as for adults, and certainly parents trying to take care of their kids. So open up your hearts and give generously. You can give diapers for babies and for adults. I guess they're specifically or particularly looking for sizes 4 through 6, not exclusively, however. And you can even bring in, if you have an open package of diapers, you can bring that as well. And we're just really grateful for your generosity. The collection box is in the narthex. What?
so, but not used ones.
Oh, no used ones. See, I just
I'd like to
shouldn't.
throw
I just
off.
shouldn't listen.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
This last Wednesday, Christopher Naughton started his 4-part series on the influence of Native American spirituality on this country. And it was absolutely fascinating, and there's still time to get in on it. You can register online, elegantly on the app. I just love doing that. And now I think you can do it out here too as well. This is based on the book by Glenn Perry, and it's called Original Politics, Making America Sacred Again. It's $20 each class, or $75 for the whole shebang, and it's every Wednesday at 7 p.m. through May 18th. And also scholarships are available.
And that's on Zoom. Yeah, that's on Zoom only. Because it's on Zoom, we have recordings of every class. So if you wanted to get in on it, but you missed last week, the recording will be available to you if you sign up for the full class. It's wonderful. So we have movie night coming up this Friday night. I'm really excited about it. We're actually going to show 2 films. We're going to show the film Passing for adults, and then we're going to have the kids. If anyone wants to bring their children, they can be watching Encanto back in the great room. We'll have free popcorn. Of course, it's free admission for both films. We're doing that partly to discourage parents from bringing kids to the adult movie Passing. It's a pretty heavy theme. It's very meaningful. I cannot wait for the discussion we're going to have after the film, but here's the preview for you.
Pardon me, I don't mean to stare, but I think I know you.
Claire?
I'm trying to find out the history of the blonde you've brought along.
She's a girl from Chicago I used to know.
Princess from Chicago.
Things aren't always what they seem.
I'll be damned. Lots of people pass all the time.
It's easy for a Negro to pass for white. I'm not sure it'd be so simple for a white person to pass for color.
So you haven't ever thought to?
What?
You ever thought of passing?
No, why should I? Now I have everything I've ever wanted.
This is my husband, John Bellew.
Does he?
No?
But you dislike Negroes, Mr. Bellew.
No, not at all. I hate them.
Isn't she extraordinarily beautiful?
I suppose.
Your life is perfect.
Have you ever thought of what you'd do if John found out?
I do what I want more than anything right now. I come up here to live with you.
You think they'd be satisfied being white?
Who's satisfied being anything?
We're all of us passing for something or other. Aren't we?
Yeah, it's good. All right. I hope you'll come and join us for that. It's going to be a big night.
But
Wow.
we won't talk about Bruno.
Hey, they can talk about Bruno back in the grave.
Yeah,
isn't it?
I was actually considering being a kid because I wanted to find out about this guy, that nobody wants to talk about.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, today is Food and Fellowship Day. This happens the first Sunday of every month, and that means that there are people in our lovely kitchen who are preparing a meal for you. It is Taco Bar Sunday, and it includes the taco bar, a dessert, and a beverage for $5. And if you have a real sweet tooth, there are additional desserts you can also purchase. And I got to tell you, the best part of this is connection
Exactly.
over a meal.
Yeah, it was great.
I mean, what could be more wonderful than that? So that's today, so be sure and stay after and have lunch.
Lovely, and thanks to the team that's preparing that for us. They're working very hard behind the scenes. Hey, next Sunday is Mother's Day. I'm going to be talking about motherhood, and we will also have a community outreach activity after the service. There'll be an opportunity for you to just take a moment, just a minute. It only takes a very short time. Write a note to an incarcerated person to send them some love and encouragement. Those notes make a huge difference. Lynn Klein isn't here today, but she's built a beautiful inmate ministry, or prison ministry with the involvement of many of you. So we'll be working on that next Sunday. Now let's stand and welcome in our children. Can we have our lights up, please?
We are walking in the light of God. 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 We are walking. We are walking in the light of God. We are walking. We are walking in the light of God. We are walking in the light of God. We are walking in the light of God.
Hey, kids. How are ya? We were talking about you today and how much we love and appreciate you all. So what did you learn that you would like to share? Oh, my goodness, look at all the hands. Okay, here we go, Coco.
We're sharing.
Okay.
When I help others, I'm helping God bring more good into the world.
When I help others, I'm helping God bring more good into the world. That's beautiful, and you delivered that in a lovely way. Yes, Samari.
Okay.
Don't put your hand on top, baby. Down there. There you go.
Okay, so we learned about that. We learned about that we help people. Help people.
We learned about helping people. Thank you, sweetheart. Adrina, who just had a birthday, didn't you? Happy belated birthday.
I am filled with a caring heart.
I am filled with a caring heart. Did you have something, Gracie? Just showing us that when I help others, I'm helping God bring more good into the world. Did you have something to say, Sydney? Okay.
I am love.
I am love. I could cry. That's so sweet. Did you have something, sweetheart, one of you? Yes.
I have love in my heart.
I have love in my heart. Awesome. How about back here? You guys have anything to share? No? Nope. All right, well, let's stand together now for our prayer for protection, followed by our peace song. Together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with
That's a wrap. Awesome job. Treat 'em.
We come together.
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 We come together
In the name of love. We come together. We come together.
We come together.
We come together.
We come together
In the name of love. From every walk of life,
Every walk of life,
every creed and color,
every creed and color,
kinship we unite.
kinship we unite.
In honor of the God and each other. Take a look at the person next to you.
Look at the person next to you.
Say namaste, I bow to you.
Namaste, I bow to you.
Now feel the love in the sanctuary.
Love in the sanctuary.
Lift your voice